Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to day 10 of the holiday card series for 2016. This card video starts a little bit differently in that I'm picking up this card in the middle of a creation of two other cards. So those two cards you see in the top corner, try to ignore those. I think I'll go back to those eventually for a different video, but for now, this whole idea kind of veered off in a different direction. So I'm starting out with these wood veneer snowflakes from Do Crafts. And they have a large set and a small set. I have both. And so I'm using two large snowflakes and one small snowflake. And I'm going to be painting these with some distress paints. I've got three colors here. I'll add a fourth in a minute here. I've got Chipped Sapphire, Evergreen Bough, Crushed Olive, and then I will eventually add Broken China. So my original plan was to paint these snowflakes and put them on top of those Cosmic Shimmer Paste backgrounds. But the more I kept working with these snowflakes and realized that I kind of just really liked the colors on their own. And they didn't really go with the sparkly kind of look that I had going for those other cards. So that's why I won't be using those cards off to the side, and I'll do something a little bit different. At this point, I thought I was still using those cards, but I had all this leftover paint, and I didn't want to waste it, so I thought I would go ahead and just do a similar brushstroke background to the card that I did for the Day 4 video, which had that really pretty brushstroke background. And I thought, you know what, I don't want to waste these paints. I'll just make a background, and I'll use it for a card in the future. Well, little did I know I was going to keep going, and this is the actual card for today. So I took those four colors in that order. That's Chipped Sapphire, Broken China, Evergreen Bough, and Crushed Olive. And I just brushed those across some Neenah Solar White cardstock. This paint, even though it is a little bit wet, it's not super wet, so you don't have to use watercolor paper for this. I'm using this Script Mary die from Mom Elephant, and I die cut it twice thinking I was going to do those two cards. Turned out in my favor because I will need both later, but yeah, I didn't know that I would only need one or that I would need two. This is all just really random. So this is the point where I completely abandoned those first two cards, and I decided to just go with the brushstroke background that I was using. So I took this gold pen or gold marker from Pilot and added some gold lines onto one of the snowflakes. It just needed a little more detail, I thought. So I added the gold lines onto the snowflake and just drew in the lines and the dots. Super simple and easy. I didn't do anything really intricate. But just that shimmer and shine from the gold really adds some much needed sparkle and detail to these snowflakes. So I put a couple dots on the other two snowflakes and then drew on some dots and a couple little freehand sparkles onto the background. And this is the basic design or formation of my card. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere everything down. I'm using some Ranger Multimedia Matte, and I just added a few dots to the back of these wood veneers, just a few, just enough to hold it down onto this cardstock. So I'll press that down with my fingertips and make sure that's all adhered before I move on. So I'm going to adhere the die cut down at the very bottom of the card. And I was originally going to just leave it with just the Mary at the bottom. I thought that was enough. I didn't need to add any more. But then I realized that there was all this extra space around the outside. And I didn't know what I was doing. I'm just going by the seat of my pants. I don't have any plan here. And I realized I wanted to mount this onto a card front and have it be a little bit smaller. So I trimmed that down. And then I took the Festive Greetings stamp set from W+9, and it has this really small Christmas stamp on it. And I thought it was the perfect size to go underneath that Mary die cut. So I'm using some Blueberry Sour cardstock from Basil, and I prepped that with an anti-static patter tool, and then stamped that Christmas word stamp in Versamark ink, just at the very bottom of this cardstock. I'm going to sprinkle on some Hero Arts white embossing powder just over the top and shake off the excess, and then I'll use my heat tool to melt that until it's completely smooth. The card base I'm using is made out of some Neenah Solar White in the 110 pound version, so it's just the heavier version of the same cardstock I used for that painted background. And then I put some foam adhesive on the back of that background and adhered that down onto the card front. I'm going to use my paper trimmer and trim out that Christmas area, Christmas greeting area, just so that it's a very small, narrow strip. And then I trimmed off the edges and sized it up so that it was the exact length of that painted background. And I also positioned the Christmas word so that it was kind of centered underneath the area between the beginning of the letter Y on Mary and the M at the start of the word Mary. I wanted it to sort of nestle in there right next to the bottom portion of the letter Y. And here's where that second die cut comes into play. Since I had already adhered the Mary, that blue strip overlapped it and it kind of cut off the end of the word. So I was able to use that second die cut that I die cut earlier with the intention of using it on that second card. And I just put that straight over the top, and then it looks like it was completely intentional. So that's the card for today. Super simple and easy. Kind of came out of left field. I had no plan for this card, but I really enjoy how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed today's card, and I will see you guys on Monday for day 11.